Hi, Toddie.
What's going on? How
Hey.
you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing good here, aren't I, today? There we go. And you can see me, my avatar and everything now, yeah? So I can put the screen on full screen for myself now because it's tiny at the moment.
Yep,
I
got it on. Yep, I got it on full screen too.
Yeah,
So
brilliant. Okay, cool. Right. This is Matthew Cox on the left here. And this is not felon, misdemeanor man on the right here.
Who is Matthew Cox?
Oh, he's an ex-con, a prison channel that has platformed Aaron, thinking that Aaron's innocent, which has been highly amusing. So go and listen to that.
Okay.
Because he just sounds like an idiot, this guy on the left here, because he's not done any research, you know. Lazy journalist, aren't you, Mr. Matthew Cox?
So probably not a journalist, just a guy with a YouTube channel who believes Aaron or wanted views or clicks. I don't know anything about the guy, how big his channel is or anything, but
massive. He's got a really big channel, huge.
So that's why Aaron went to him.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So Matthew interviews Aaron and says, "How did you escape Scientology?" And during this video, I speak in it because it's on my channel, because it's just a 3-minute video. Yeah, go and have a look yourself. This Matthew Cox, his name is, and then we have what I have to say about the matter, and let's hear what Aaron also has to say. So there's two. There's me talking now, and then there'll be me in the video.
Okay.
Aaron Smith Levin talking to Matthew Cox about how he left Scientology.
We listened to another version of how Aaron escaped Scientology. Didn't actually escape Scientology. He walked out the door. Should we have a listen to that? See what happens? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So it is from Matthew Cox, the true crime chappie who interviewed Aaron, and Aaron just made up shit. In fact, you know Claire's story, you know now the abortion rules, you know that it's not too hard to leave the Sea Org, especially if you're still a Scientologist. They don't, as long as you're still paying for quarters, it doesn't matter, does it? And let's see what he says.
It's not good. It's not good. Colby is willing to sacrifice your mental health for views. That I know. I'm going to do my best. I don't know if you ever watch my stuff. Like, I'm a fucking pussy, bro. I cry all the time. I know, but it's not fun. It's not fun. Okay, because there's two different subjects here. There's leaving Scientology, like, oh, I don't believe it anymore, and I'm not under the spell. Right. And then there's, like, getting kicked out and losing everyone you've ever known. Okay, and that happened in two different... Yes. Okay. One, you stopped believing first? Yes. Okay. Absolutely. And, I'm already...
So what was he supposed to believe in? Like, because this is a legitimate question. Yeah. What is he supposed to believe in when at this point he doesn't know anything about Xenu or anything about the Space Navy and us coming back or going or whatever the philosophy is of Scientology at the point that Aaron is at? What is he supposed to believe? Just that Scientology is the best and that it changes the planet for the good and everything they're doing is, what's the belief?
Yes, is an answer to pretty much all you just said there. They believe in eternal souls is probably a good way to describe it. And you die and you come back again, and you're basically something living in a meat suit that has been,
what happened?
You live in a meat suit. So you're in the meat suit and your actual self goes on to the next one. And
wait a minute, wait, something happened where I lost you. Like, so you hang on. Yeah. So the last thing you said was that you were souls and you come back and that's it. Then it went dead.
Oh, okay. A Scientologist believes in everlasting soul is a good way for me to describe it in layman's terms. The soul lives inside the meat suit. So you know how you people say that you have the spirit inside you and then your spirit goes on. Well, with L. Ron Hubbard's philosophy, it's you've always been and you always will be. And you were born and died, born and died, born and died, born and died. But the thing is, you forget that you were born and died, and then you become a Scientologist, and then you find out. And the way you find out is, thankfully, through intergalactic super duper space cuties that live on your body.
Right, but it's only at a certain point in your Scientology progress that you learn about like the aliens that are all over your body or whatever the hell they're called. I forget what they're called. Body Phaetons. They're Phaetons, right? So, but at that point, Aaron wouldn't have known about the body Thetans because he wasn't like, he didn't get very far in Scientology. So I guess the thing that I'm asking, and I guess I got the answer, was that they still believe that they are getting reincarnated, that they were reincarnated at this
they're
point.
everlasting. Yeah, they believe that they're everlasting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, they know that. And he's also being told that Scientology is changing the world, and they're the only ones that are doing anything to change the world.
Right.
To make it a better place as far as donations and the help that they give, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you have to do the courses that you pay for, whether you are in the Sea Org or your public or your staff. You still have to pay for the courses. It depends on how you pay for them. In the Sea Org, you don't pay for them, and you
it's an IOU when you leave.
Yeah. They don't tell that to people, do they? They don't say that bit.
Because you're signing a billion-year contract. You're signing a billion-year contract when you go and sign up for the Sea Org, so that you're coming back every lifetime you could ever imagine. Right. And if you don't, you've got to pay this enormous, what is it, a freeloader's debt, I believe they call it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
and
thank
in
you.
2006 is when his daughter was born. So we're assuming in 2006 is when he left the Sea Org.
Oh, because you couldn't have children back then in the Sea Org.
Right.
Okay. And that would be his oldest daughter.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Where do we want to enter this? Okay, so let's enter. Okay, so understand. So 2006, my wife and I were working in the Sea organization in Los Angeles. You were married at this point? Like you were? Well, Sea Org members are not allowed to have relationships with people who aren't Sea Org members, and you're also not allowed to do any premarital shenanigans. Right. So Sea Org members get married very quickly. Right. Okay. So I got married when I was like 23. Okay. And she's 100% all in. Oh, she was born and raised in Scientology herself. And working, she'd been in the Sea Org for 14 years by the time, or something like that, right? Okay. Okay. I really just sort of back.
Put in?
I was coughing, but we do have to stop this on occasion so that we don't get any strikes against anything.
This is my channel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You're striking my own channel.
No, I don't want you striking us. So guys, you can catch this on I Am Mrs. J or the one and only Mrs. J.
Yes, that's me. Yeah, so in 2006 is when he left the Sea Org. Now, I've also got video on my channel of him saying that it was 2009 that he left the Sea Org. And we have also got that I've also got on a different version that he's kind of roped in, unfortunately, Claire Headley's
story. He stole Claire Headley's story?
In a way, it's like instead of them actually having an abortion, he said, let's leave the Sea Org. So instead of them doing that, which is but he's saying it's because of the abortion law in Scientology, which is not true. You cannot have babies in the Sea Org, so because of that, you just leave. If
you leave
don't,
the Sea Org, right? You leave the Sea Org,
right?
but you don't have to leave Scientology.
No,
They don't even want you to leave, man. They're not trying to get you to leave
because you're still going to pay them money,
right? But here's the thing: it's now here's now those people that don't know, because there's people that watch this and they don't know. So in the Sea Org, there's debate, but there has been, I think, proof, in my opinion, that in the Sea Org, they want you to terminate the pregnancy. They're not really trying to promote you leaving the Sea Org. They kind of try to promote the alternative. Am I correct? I've heard that. Am I correct in that? Okay.
You're too busy being in your meat suit saving the world. It's more important to be in your meat suit saving the world than having time out to have babies, because Scientology public people can have babies. They don't need to.
Oh, is that the attitude? Okay.
That's the attitude, yeah. But you just walk out the door if you want to be a public. I mean, the guy, his family has a lot of money, so that they left the Sea Org and became public Scientologists. Public Scientologists. I mean, he just stopped practicing, really. He just carried on living his life and earned a lot of money doing real estate.
Well, let me ask you a question. But he wasn't really, because I've heard him say that he wasn't really practicing when he claims he was supposedly practicing at the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even in the Sea Org, he wasn't really practicing Scientology. He was just going through like the motions of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Right.
Not that. Okay. So, all right, go ahead.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
he's a
failed actor. You see, this is another thing that he.
Oh,
he
yes, please.
Tell people. Please. But unfortunately, internet's forever, isn't it, Aaron? He's a failed actor, and so because he failed at acting, he went into the Sea Org in LA. And that's how he ended up in Scientology in LA. That's how all that began.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Whoa. So, but he was born. Wait a minute, because I'm a little confused. Mm-hmm. So, but he was born into Scientology.
No.
But he was not born into it. But his mom was in Scientology before him, or no?
So, his mom was a single mom. I think from the conversations, I can't find anything to say otherwise. His mum had the twins out of wedlock and they didn't stay together. His mum then met somebody else who had 2 children, a boy and a girl, and all 6 of them, all 6 of them,
right,
joined Scientology when he was 4.
Okay. I
have heard 6, but I can't find it at the moment. But I did hear he was 6 as well.
Okay.
But I'm going with 4, which is fine because I'm hearing that on a regular basis.
The reason why I was asking was because it was unclear whether because what you said just now about him being an actor and joining Scientology at the Sea Org, that was just because it was the LA based one. Is that correct? Is that what you were saying about that?
That was the very first time he actually joined the Sea Org. After he went to LA to become this superstar that he never ended up being, and spent all his money and ended up having to go to the Sea Org because he had no money.
Oh, I don't think a lot of people know that, Mrs. J.
I know, but it's okay. It's on my channel.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Right now it's on this channel, and right now it's on this channel too. So that's important to people to know, because there's people, listen, and I just want to say this because I get beat up a lot of times for like stopping you, but I'm like, wait a minute, some people aren't going to know what she's talking about, and I want everybody that's spending time, investing time, to at least understand what's going on. And if I don't understand, I know that some people aren't going to understand. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that I'm trying to interrupt you. I just wanted to be clear.
No, and this is why I've got to get this clear to people. All right.
Right.
Because it's not, he's not telling the world the truth, and he mixes stories together to make it his own. So the whole situation about DeCrenzio, which is on my channel, a long story short, she sued Scientology for having an abortion when she was 17.
Who?
That exploded the whole abortion thing into the limelight. Her name is DeCrenzo, and she's on my channel anyway. I've got her stuff on my channel. But by the by, that was actually 2009. All right. So this is 2006 he's talking about. So this is 3 years before that even all came out. Him and his wife knew that if she got pregnant, they'd have to leave the Sea Org unless she had an abortion. That was the truth of it, and that was it. They opened the doors and said, off you go. But unfortunately, Aaron tells lots of different versions of that story that span between 2006 and 2009. And each one I've got on my channel, and then I've got more coming, but these are just some of them. But anyway, this is Matthew Cox.
Filled a part of the story that we have never actually organically arrived at. But that's okay. So by 2006, my wife and I were in the Sea organization in Los Angeles. Now, because Sea Org members work for Scientology 24/7, 365, you're actually not allowed to have kids in the Sea Org. So if you get pregnant, they press you to either get an abortion or leave. Wow. Like for real. Because they don't want to have to take care of. Yeah, it's too much distractions. Or money. But both. I mean, Sea Org members are basically free labor. So if you now have to spend half your time raising kids, you're losing that free labor. Right. Plus, it costs money to support kids. Yeah. Plus, there's so much liability surrounding that. It's not good for the kids. It's not good for the organization. Anyway, so if you're in the Sea Org and you get pregnant, you have to leave the Sea Org or get an abortion.
Right.
Yep.
This is set in stone in their world. Obviously we're told differently by Scientology, but that's it in a nutshell. And of course they chose to have a baby, which I think is completely lovely. She's I think 8 or 9 years older than him, and if he's 23 at this time, she's now 30 or whatever. And you gotta.
You're talking about his wife is older.
Yeah, and if they wanted a baby, I think good on them. It's just and in my eyes, I think that's a lovely thing. That they've gone. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to have a baby. Bye.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that story at all.
And the only reason we got pregnant was so that we could leave the Sea Org.
There's something wrong with that. Now,
there's something wrong with that, Toddie.
If I'm your daughter, I'm not going to like to hear that.
I'm going to be fuming if that was my dad.
Okay. So 2006 is when we leave the Sea Org, but we're still Scientologists. Okay. 2006, we moved from Los Angeles, we moved to Clearwater because her family's all in Clearwater.
Heather's family, Aaron's wife, still wife, her family, every single member, unfortunately, is still in the cult. And to say they don't like Aaron is an understatement. They broadcast on his the Scientology built website with his name and have completely and utterly said the most horrific things on there. I mean, it really is quite disturbing. Which I'm like, when you first watch some of them, you're dumbfounded that anyone could even say such a thing. But then now we know what Aaron's like. I'm now at the point when I listen to them now, when I listen to what his in-laws say and everything, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see it now.
Or get an abortion, and the only reason we got pregnant was so that we could leave the Sea Org. Okay, so
I just think that
2006 is when we leave the Sea Org, but we're still.
Can you pause that? I think that just says so much about him, guys. Like, if you think he treats that's him not fucking thinking about how his kid is gonna, and I don't care if you told her that. You have now told everybody she knows. So that's a horrible thing, you know, that everybody knows that the only reason why she was conceived was to leave something. That's absolutely, I don't understand why he had to say that out loud to anybody. Have the balls and leave.
Right. Because it's just, you know, as I said, you know, if you want to have a family and so on, you know, crack on, innit? But that is one of the moments I just, my eyes watered when I heard that. I was just so sad. It's awful. But there's more.
Scientologists. Okay. 2006, we moved from Los Angeles, we moved to Clearwater, because her family's all in Clearwater. And so from 2006 to 2009, we're still relatively good Scientologists who still more or less believe.
Notice how he says more or less believe,
right?
And never mentions actually doing any Scientology at that point. So from 2006 to 2009, he was making a lot of money, and didn't really give a shit about Scientology because he got out.
And then in 2009, the Tampa Bay Times, at that time it might have still been the St. Pete Times, but the Tampa Bay Times publishes a series of articles called The Truth Rundown with a bunch of these former executives who knew L. Ron Hubbard, worked with L. Ron Hubbard, had been some of the senior most leadership of Scientology for 30, 40 years. Well, a lot of these guys had left Scientology and no one even knew because they were just they left and they were just never spoke out. Right. Well, a bunch of these guys started, talking to the Tampa Bay Times, and the Tampa Bay Times were publishing these stories of how basically David Miscavige is beating people up, imprisoning them on the Scientology management base in Gilman Hot Springs, California. I'm talking about 2009 because that's when I, as someone who just grown up as a good little believing Scientologist, not questioning anything, was like, if for all of these things that I'm hearing from these people who I know to be good people who I believe are telling the truth, for what they're saying to be true, a whole lot of things I believed my whole life would have to be false. Right. Okay. So.
Right. So a whole lot of things he'd have to deal with would be dealing with having to put up with Scientology. In fact, he just wanted to just live his life. He didn't really give a shit about it. And so that was one of his stories there. That's just one. I'm going to race through these. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night, aren't we? Right, let's have a look. And everybody, this is my fault. We're here all night because I'm a useless person. But anyway, right, next one. So then let's just bring the next one up. And we're going to go with Jordan Peterson. This is what he says to old Jordan, everybody. This is a good one. So this is his version to Jordan Peterson.
Aaron Smith-Levin talking to Jordan Peterson.
Little bunny rabbit is just sat here and I'm giving him a little tickle. I'm going through TikTok to find some of the alternative stories that Aaron has said. And this one's a gem. This was a gem. This is Jordan Peterson. All right. So he's done his yeah. So let's see what he tells Jordan Peterson and his audience about.
What did you remember that produced that Emotional response.
It's the answer to
That's
this
an
question.
in-ground, me.
By the time they realize I'm not going to disconnect from my mom, they officially kick me out of Scientology. And then they go to my wife and they say, well, you have to divorce your husband or you're going to get kicked out of Scientology. And she says, that's not going to work for me. So they kick her out of Scientology. And so then they go to her parents and they say, you have to disconnect from your daughter and your 3 granddaughters, or you're going to get kicked out of Scientology. But my wife's parents have 3 other kids who have spouses that are Scientologists, who have kids, you know, whose spouses' parents are Scientologists. They're basically going, which kids do we want to lose? Which grandkids are we never going to see again? My wife never saw her dad again until the day he died.
I saw that video before, and I just I don't know that I think Aaron, because that's the way he is and that's been his MO, I think that the first person he more or less started this behavior with was Heather, where what he did was kind of more or less take control over and alienated her from her family and used Scientology as an excuse in doing so, because he's alienated Jenna, so Jenna has said, alienated Lindsay, so Lindsay has said,
and alienated Nora, so Nora said, alienated Liz Ferris, and she said, alienated Liz Gale, and she said, alienated Serge, he said nothing.
So yeah, that's his
There's
MO.
a really good video with Serge Delmar about, because Serge actually was friends with Aaron's brother, Colin.
Right.
It's a fantastic video about how him and Colin were kind of like the superheroes of the Sea Org before Colin and him had to sort of be separated, really. And Colin ended up going to his dad's and doing his GED and getting a degree. And unfortunately, Colin passed away, as if you know the story, and unfortunately, a very sad story. He was in a car crash. Very sad story. But Colin never gets a mention anywhere. And that's sad, because I feel that every time I hear Aaron's story, I don't hear about how his brother coped, or I don't hear those. But what I do hear is him repeating stories that were Colin Smith-Levin's stories, which I'm working on.
That he takes on his own, you mean? That he takes on as his own? Because I did hear him mention his brother when he was on the Aftermath show.
Yeah.
And he cried about his brother. But I question when Aaron cries, because I'm not sure that that's just organic tears.
Yes. I'm working on who Colin was, really. It'd be nice to know who he is, as he's had such a kind of.
And those that don't know, that was Aaron's twin. That's when she mentioned twins before, she was talking about Aaron and Colin.
Yeah. And his mum wasn't a single mum, so when you hear that story, it's interesting on that one with the single mum story. She was a single mum at the beginning. She was, but she met somebody and she got married, and I think that's lovely.
Right.
That's so nice. You know, I know it was all Scientology, whatever, but the fact that she did meet somebody and this person has no mention ever anywhere, really. I hardly ever find any mention. And he also had a stepbrother and sister as well, and they all went to school together, and when they finished school they came home and did their studies, and it's a shame that I know we have very complex marriage lives and you know, people have step parents and step brothers and sisters.
And blended families is what it's called. Blended
families.
families. Yeah.
And that's it. There you go. I was part of a blended family, is what I would say. You know, that's a lovely way of putting it. You know, my family is a blended family. I think that's a nice way of saying it. And it's a shame that all gets left out. But I wonder why it's left out. I wonder why, when we look at, he left in 2006 because they wanted a family, which is what he tells the world. But we've just heard there that they deliberately got pregnant
so that they could leave Scientology, so that they could leave the Sea Org.
Yeah.
Well, leave the Sea Org.
Sea Org. Yeah,
Right,
the Sea Org.
right. And ultimately leave Scientology.
Yes. And there's also, you know, he tells the world he joined the Sea Org at age 12 and he was there till he was 26. No, that's not true. He was only in the Sea Org for 4 years. He was only in the Sea Org for 4 years. His wife was in the Sea Org for 14 years, and 4 of those years she was with Aaron.
Right. The last 4, I would assume.
Last 4.
Of course.
Yeah, the last 4.
So she was in there for 10 years.
Before him, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think he is almost jealous of the longevity of that, because he then tells the world he was in the Sea Org between when he was 12 to 26, which would make it 13, 13 years, wouldn't it? Which is, so it kind of marries up with the 14 years. It makes that sound better in that point. But the truth of the matter is, his mum and his stepdad, his brother and his stepbrother and sister, and another family were working together. They were all public staff, which means that they earn their rewards by doing work for Scientology for free. Say you want to be audited, you might have to clean the toilets for a week or something like that. I'm just guessing, by the way, I'm just making it up, but that kind of thing. So if you go on to staff, it means your courses will be a lot cheaper, which is how they did it.
Right.
Unfortunately, I've also found another one where he has said that he was in I'm doing air quotes, Toddie, air quotes here, ladies and gentlemen,
but I believe you.
Air quotes, where he was in the nurseries. Yeah, he said that as well, which is not true. He went to normal school. He went to a normal school. He did not go. He went to a normal school, did normal school things, and then was home educated until when they got older, so that they could do their studies in the Sea Org. Not Sea Org, do it as staff, like the parents, you know, go in
Right.
3 hours a day they were doing so that they could all afford the courses and to become a good Scientologist. And it's sad. And I think he gets wound up by, it's actually only 4 years.
Right.
That annoys him, because everybody else is, I was in the Sea Org for 26 years. I was in the Sea Org for 30 years. I was in the Sea Org for 3 years. Winds the fuck out
Not
of him.
only that, but it doesn't make him the expert that he wants to be. If he wasn't in there for as long as he's saying, it does not make him the expert that he wants to be.
Right. It's just sad. I find it sad because the story itself, his actual real life, what actually happened to him story is horrible, really. If you look at it as to what it is, but compared to other people's situations that have been in Scientology, theirs is a lot worse. And he's kind of like, well, we just got pregnant and we left. You know, that's actually what happened.
Right.
And I fully have complete what's the word? Respect for that. You know, I completely do. And I also have respect for the fact that actually, should we get pregnant and then we can really get out of here? I kind of get that, you know. I actually get that as well.
Yeah, but not to tell your kid that. I mean, not so
yeah,
that
but
your
you
kid
don't
hears
tell
it.
your kid that, do you?
Yeah, no, you don't. And especially you don't put it out there so other people can tell your kid that.
It's horrible.
You know, it's just his story is all apparently that matters to him.
But it's not even, there's no actual definition of what his real story is. And I'd love for people to challenge me on that and tell me their versions of what they think is Aaron Smith Levin's story, because I am putting it all together slowly.
So what do you think his story is, or you don't want to say yet? What do you think his
I don't want to say yet.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. It's
he was never in Scientology, and he's just, he's just a poser. He's just a poser. He's got an acting job, man. He did make it as an actor. He got us all fooled.
It must be. I bet you he's jealous. The fact that his brother got the GED, the fact that his brother got a degree, those two things there he'll be really jealous about.
Well, he's got to have a high school diploma. He's got to have well, listen, I think that as far as real estate goes, you have to have a high school diploma.
He doesn't have his GED, Toddie. He doesn't have it.
Alexa, do you need a high school diploma and or a GED for your real estate license in the state of Florida?
Yes, you need either a high school diploma or a GED to get a real estate license in Florida.
The only reason why, Alexa, stop. The only reason why I know that is because when I got my real estate license for New York, my friend was taking the same course as me for Florida. So you have
if he doesn't, are you telling me this is like
you have to have a real estate license? I mean, you have to have either a high school diploma or a GED to have your real estate license in New York State or Florida. I mean, in any state, I believe, but I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up again right here.
Well, you've now thrown another thing I'm gonna have to look at. Because what if that's not true then, that he doesn't have a real estate
he had to have, he would have to have his real estate. He had a real estate license, right?
Well, I'm being told that, but maybe he doesn't. Now we're being this is a brand new kind of like thing. You've just thrown a spanner in the works.
Well, I didn't mean to do that, but here you go.
It's brilliant.
To obtain a Florida, listen, to obtain a Florida real estate sales associate license, which is a realtor, real estate agent, you have to be at least 18, hold a high school diploma or equivalent high school diploma, either a GED or you have to have a high school diploma. Yep, I'm looking at it right here. So yes, you do. I knew you did, but okay.
No, this is great, because then where is it?
He must have a he sent something in, because you have to send the shit in. I know that. I had to do it myself. I had to do it myself years ago for New York. Probably, when was it, 10, 12 years ago now? Whatever it was. I mean, I'm not a real estate I'm not a realtor anymore. Yeah. But, you definitely had to do that. So, wow. I mean, maybe he wasn't a real estate. I know that he
that's what you've just.
But here's the thing. I know that he was showing real estate and stuff, and that's something you have to have a license for. So you can't be a fake realtor either. Like, you can't because you can't show people's houses unless you have a legitimate license. So I would assume he has his GED or
no, he definitely doesn't have the GED, because that's a definite. The only person who did have the GED is Colin.
Well,
not
maybe. Wait a minute, but he could have gotten one later. He could have gotten one later in life.
Just because he's very proud of the fact he doesn't have a GED. He says it all the time.
Well, then he didn't get his real estate license, and somebody should look into that, because He didn't have a real estate license if he didn't have a GED or a high school diploma.
This is fascinating. Oh no, I've got to do
We
more.
just busted the bubble. But here's the
I've got to
thing.
do more
I'm
research.
not the only person. I am not the only person that would know that. Like, that is just such a. So maybe he never had a real estate license. Well, we could look that up and see if he had a real estate license, because you can see that online.
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up right now.
Okay.
Because he said, not only now that I'm thinking about it, not only did he said he had, I thought he had like his own real estate place. He wouldn't have been able to have that unless he was a broker, and he would have had to have had, I think, a couple people. Maybe he wouldn't have had to have somebody under him, but he would have had to have been a broker, which is more than Aaron Smith Levin, real estate agent in Clearwater.
That doesn't mean he's or is that an official?
Looking.
Oh my god, this will be epic if that's
real. It says so. It's okay. So I'm looking. Well, yeah. It says that he was a real estate. It shows. I mean, it shows a real estate, like a license number. So I don't know how he must have something that he sent in there, because it shows his agent license number. I'm looking at it.
Right.
So there's something that he's not telling the truth about, because you can't. The prerequisite.
Yeah.
The requirement to get real estate is at least to do exactly what I said. You have to have a high school diploma and or a GED, not but or a GED.
Right. So to get a high school diploma, can you get a high school diploma when you're home educated?
Yeah, you definitely can get. I don't know that is. I think it's called a high school diploma, but certainly you can get something that shows if you're homeschooled. Of course, you can get something that can even get you into college. So yes,
I'm wondering if that's it. Maybe not. I'm gonna have to look into it, aren't I? That's fascinating, Toddie.
Yeah, because I mean, like, here's the thing, though. I just want to tell you that here's what I think. I think that he would be a complete moron to get on publicly and have, the platform he does, and everybody knows where he's at. And the people that have made enemies, that he's made enemies of, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially that one guy who is into real estate, the guy he used to go after all the time, really wealthy Scientologist in that area.
Grant Cardone.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone, right. So he is somebody that would have definitely called him out on that. He would have been like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, he would have called him out on that. So I can't believe that he would get away with doing that illegally. That would be such a fucking idiot move on his behalf. Do I think, I wouldn't bet all my money he wouldn't do it, but I would think that Grant Cardone would at least know enough to say, wait a minute, he doesn't have a high school diploma. He doesn't have a GED. How the fuck does he have a real estate license? Because that's a requirement. So I think if you look far enough, he might be bragging about not having the GED because he might have gotten something which he thinks is better than what Colin has. And you said that Colin went and ultimately went to go live with his dad at what age?
Yeah. All I know is that he got his GED and he went to university in New Mexico. Yeah. And then
but I mean, so he could have left before Aaron finished his schooling.
Right.
You know what I mean? At home. And so he left and got his GED. And Aaron can just be bragging again that he didn't get his GED because it might be something that makes him think he's better than his brother. I'm guessing. I don't know. You know, I mean, I'd brag about not having my GED and having my high school diploma, because I mean that one is a little bit stronger than the GED, but I certainly wouldn't do it at my dead brother's expense.
No.
So I don't know what he's playing at, but he can't be.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm gonna have to now do more digging. Yeah, there's been the different stories that he says. I mean, I've got one where he says in 2009, that he left the Sea Org, and he just made stuff up about that. And then I found another one where, I just find that the family thing so complex with him, because he does change the story so much. But what I'm finding when I'm doing my research is when I look at the dates. So, for example, like in December 2022, he did an interview with a man called John Atack, who is actually a UK ex-Scientologist who has been speaking out for a very long time and has also written a book.
Right.
And in that, that one, he talks about how he was in the nurseries, and it's like, well, no, you weren't. You were only saying it's because Jamie Mustard started talking out then. Things like that, that it seems to be when the person starts talking out and saying, unfortunately we had to have a whatever because the Sea Org made us do it. He uses that story in his story, so he claims other people's stories and mashes it up and puts it all together. And when I ask people, can you tell me what Aaron Smith said, Aaron Smith Levin's out route, not going into Scientology because that's really all over the place, but just the leaving Scientology. How did he leave Scientology? When I asked people, and actually he just walked out the front door because him and his wife were pregnant. That was it. That was the last time he went back. That was the last time he did any Scientology.
Well, that's one story, but then the other story is that he got himself pregnant, and then you said there was a third story, and that was the one that was really hard to understand, and it was hard to understand for a few reasons, because like the sound on it was so, and I was confused about when you were speaking and not speaking, because it was hard to see that. But can you say what he says? Because you have that video up. People could go to that video. But can you say what he says about that video? And when you could send me the links, which I have, and I have the links, and I will go ahead and put them in the description below. So what does he say in the video where I just couldn't make?
Sure. I know the one. Yeah. So he had back in 2023, he had a interview with Doug Scott Kramer on Doug's channel, which is called Dazed But Not Confused. Great little channel that. Sadly, Doug passed away, and which is very sad. But he left a legacy of videos, and one of them is a conversation he has with Aaron about how he left Scientology. And Aaron uses Claire Headley's story mixed in with his story to make the story sound better. And that was it was horrible, really, that he did that. But that's what he was doing all over the place. And that's back in 2023. And now we're in 2026. And of course, he's now going on to Matthew Cox's channel, for example, which was at the end of last year. Another channel called the Hodge podcast, and he's a joke. Yes, we had words, me and Hodge did, on his comment section, because he very lazy journalism. I mean, there's the very lazy research done on him now, and I'm finding it harder and harder to find videos of Aaron talking to anybody anymore. It's kind of fizzled out. He went through a whole phase, especially 22, 23, beginning of 24, where he really was on fire and was telling all these different stories and going to different podcasts and sharing a different story and then another different story and then a different version of that story. But his outroute, from what I can gather, is they walked out the front door in 2006 and never looked back, and then got declared when he was in 2014. And there's two versions of why he was declared. One, he sort of says, well, because he didn't do anything, he didn't bother, he wasn't bothered, he was like, couldn't be bothered with it all. And then the other is he was actually, I think I might have mentioned it before, selling or telling secrets to various outsiders here. And Scientology discovered this. But again, I don't know if that's true. It's like it's so hard to gauge what is real and what isn't real in Aaron Smith Levin's world, because it's all so confusing. I just, I spoke to a lady called A Voice Down Under last week, and I said to her, and I'll say it here, I'm really sad that he didn't call the SPTV Foundation the Colin Smith Levin Foundation, because Colin got very confused with it all and very stressed with it all, and and then he went oh fuck this, and went to his dad's, and I
because from my understanding, and I mean, people can see on the show, his brother thrived in Scientology. Like his brother really thrived. And I want to say, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say that Aaron did something to mess something up for him. Is that not true? And this isn't because I don't care for Aaron. I thought something did happen where he had to write his brother up or something.
He did. Yeah. He did it a lot. He did it a lot.
So I mean, like, and guys, you could see, here's somebody that he says he didn't give a shit about Scientology, but he wrote his brother up, it seems like, for sport. So there's part.
He got a kick out of it. He actually got a kick out of it. He would giggle about that when he talks about it on various podcasts and channels that I've seen him say it. He thought it was funny. I have spoken to an ex-Sea Org member pal of mine, and he said, if Aaron wrote up the 400, and he said, I quote, 400, because I said 700, but it was 400 knowledge reports on all this, then that would take him a week, that would take him like 2 months or something to actually do that, to complete that task. And you do nothing else but that, because it takes so long. And he said that he can't see how that is possible. But again, we're going with a man who's told so many different versions of how he got into Scientology, how he left Scientology. It makes us all wonder what is true and what isn't true in the world that is Aaron Smith Levin, even in his own world. L. Ron Hubbard, by the time he died, he was spending his life trying to get thetans off him, body thetans off himself, because he was so convinced of it, because he'd convinced himself his own madness. Are we seeing the same kind of thing happen here, where he's saying so many varying stories and lies, and then
I don't think Aaron's going. No, I don't think. Could he go mad later in life? Yes, but right now he's just a solid narcissist. He's there. There's no crazy, no certifiable crazy yet. but I'm not saying that that's completely impossible. Listen, there's something wrong because you take sport in your brother being a better Scientologist than you, because that's what I remember him basically was that his brother was a better Scientologist. And at that point, you know, Aaron did want to be, and then he just kind of, but Aaron wanted, from my understanding, and this is the way Aaron is, he just wants things to come to him. His brother actually worked at things.
He did,
and I don't think he had any real love towards his brother, in my opinion, because I remember watching that episode and thinking to myself, that's one of the first times that I have ever seen twins not be so close. And you know what I mean? Like, that's not a common thing. Twins are usually very close. But he didn't seem to have a lot of love for his brother, or I didn't buy it. There was something that I thought, I don't remember, but anybody can go back and look at that.
Yeah. And I want people to go and have a look at the channel with that. I've got all of these on. I've got so many more to go up, Toddie, because there's that's the thing. I thought to myself, I just want to quiz people. What do you think? How did Aaron Smith Levin leave Scientology? What is your version, folks, of his leaving Scientology? You know, did you know he was only in the Sea Org for 4 years? Did you know he was doing from 5 till 10 or whatever it was? He keeps changing that one as well. He says 3 hours a day, and then he says he was there 5 till 10. It gets all confusing. But that's not, I mean, that's just whitewashing. But the I would just love to know his story. You know, like we've got people's stories written down all over the place, and we all know that, you know, part of Nora leaving was drinking bleach. It's a story that is so awful. But of course that's not Aaron's story, that's Nora's story. And I wish we could just know the real story. Maybe maybe that will come out one day. I don't know, Toddie. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. I don't know.
The only person that's going to say the real story is going to be Heather or his children, and his children will only know the real story because it'll be told to them. So there might be a little biased there, but as well, I mean, like, for Heather to come and tell her story would certainly tell a lot about Aaron's story, right?
Yeah.
But she's not, because she is his ride or die, whether he likes it or not, for whatever reason.
Well, everywhere I've looked on that, all I'm hearing is he says, I do not want to get divorced. That's what he says everywhere.
Something. Because it's not out of love, I don't think. I mean, I would think that he loves her in his way, but he's clearly not in love with her. And he went as far as to say that they don't make each other happy. He has told the public that, and that they can go on. So what would be the reason why in the world he wouldn't divorce her? What was the only other reason that she wouldn't divorce? And I guarantee you, he told Jenna that he was going to divorce his wife. I believe that he told Jenna.
He did tell her that, yes.
That he was going to divorce. But Lindsay, he never told Lindsay that. And Lindsay never claimed it. Lindsay, I never heard Lindsay claim that.
He said he told her he was getting a divorce. Yeah. Yeah, he told her.
I thought that she had said that he never said that he would be living with her. Maybe it was marriage. Maybe it was never marry her.
Right.
But I think he said he was going to marry Jenna. He wanted to marry Jenna. That's what I thought. Jenna said that there was a possibility of that. No or yes?
Don't know the answer to that one.
Okay.
Not sure. I do know she said. I do know that she said that he was getting a divorce. He told her he was getting a divorce. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lindsay and Jenna.
Yeah. Both, I think.
Right.
Yeah, both. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, both of them got pregnant as well, which is tragic. because it in my eyes,
because you know what it
brings up-
shows me, that he just walks around and doesn't do anything for protection. But these women are silly because it's not the only person he's putting it in. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no.
So I mean, that's
dodgy
somebody
ass,
that
man.
you can like, come on. But and listen, women too have to and I'm not saying these women weren't responsible, because of course 50-50 they have to be. Maybe they thought he would
I'm sorry, but the women were responsible as well. Yes,
of course, and maybe he thought that, maybe they thought that, oh, maybe I can get him, by getting pregnant. But I'm sure that he knew that these women weren't on any kind of, I believe that these women didn't lie to him and say, yeah, I'm on protection, or yeah, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's
Anything's
sad.
possible, but I don't believe that the women said that.
Yeah, it's horrible and sad, and it is all really sad because we look at 5 years ago and he was on the up and up, and the channel, he was just doing these little videos and sharing real tragedy, things like Heather knowing about Danny Masterson and all of that, and those real heart-wrenching moments where she must have been herself, has to keep everything quiet because you don't say anything, you don't talk about it,
Right.
and
right. Well,
yeah,
he doesn't have any real consideration for people, unfortunately, because we see that. I mean, that's just who he is. And the fact that he feels like his story might pale in comparison to others, so therefore he has to keep adding stuff to his story, which I guess is what you're alleging, and what we've heard is a couple different stories, and the third one's on your channel. Then there's got to be some sort of proof to that. But that's a guy, again, that doesn't have this confidence that he thinks he has. He doesn't have it if he's got to make up shit. If you got to make up shit, you ain't got shit.
Yeah. And as I said, I'll keep saying it, the story itself would have been just fine.
Exactly. I mean, and what would have been better is had he have come out and been the person that he wanted the public to believe. All he had to do was act it out, and he doesn't. And I'm dealing with this on another channel of mine where all somebody had to do was do the right thing, and they could have been a hero. Aaron, he had the platform. All he had to do was do the right thing. He could have been a hero. If he would have legitimately done what he wanted people to think, he could have actually had turned around, and if the people wanted to, and I'm sure after so much time, they would have liked to have been interviewed, and it could have been done. I'm sorry. It could have been done with so much class and so much appreciation and so much respect, where here, it's, look at what it's become.
Thing is, yeah. Am I being, this is just what I'm going to be, this is how I think about this. Am I being supercilious and saying, this is just waffle, there's only, this all in between, the gaps in between, it doesn't matter about the gaps in between, it matters about the message. But the message is Aaron's told the same boring story now, and I don't mean that I mean the fact that it's just like, we've heard this before. Have you got nothing new at all anywhere, Aaron? Is there anything you new that you've got here? But it's just not. It's like, this is what happened then, and this is what happened then, and this is what happened then. That's it. That's his.
Well, his feeling of superiority is
that exposing Scientology? Just saying this is my story?
No, because it's a well, no. So it's the way in which he does it. If he exposes Scientology and just tells his true story, you know, and he could even tell the truth about his brother. It wouldn't have looked good with him laughing about it. But, you know, and if he had really felt bad or had really hurt, like that would be a story you could get behind. The problem is that it's hard to get behind Aaron because what are we getting behind? I mean, we're getting behind a big shot bully, rebel. He wants to be, but he's afraid of a piece of paper from Liz Gale's husband. So, I mean, that's seriously, like, that's the reality of it. And the actions in which you have shown him, they definitely support the afraid of the piece of paper, Aaron, as opposed to the stronger Aaron, because we haven't seen that. We just haven't seen it. When it comes time for him to be a class act, he just drops the class. You know, he could have been a complete class act, and Mike Rinder and all of that. He can't go back and change that, you know, and I guarantee you at some point he's going to grow a conscience or something that's going to grow right alongside his third leg, and he's going to be sorry about that. Either way, he's either going to grow a conscience or a horrible disease. And the thing is seriously, so
I know, I'm laughing. I know, I'm laughing.
What should be better? And, you know, how do you think, you know, you'll be appreciated more? Here it is where you have supposedly gotten so many people out of Scientology. But in the meantime, what sticks out in my mind is that you unfortunately doxed Reese, and that you told us where money for other people went and who you helped. And that was going against what we read on the page the other day as far as keeping things in confidence. There's no confidence because your ego runs the show, Aaron, and that's your problem.
Now, how many times do you let the odd thing slip? For example, it wasn't 2009, it was 2006. How many times are the public supposed to let it slip, do you think, before they say, you know what, I don't know what to believe anymore?
Yeah, well, somebody should ask him point blank. What, like, okay, so Aaron, I mean, I think you're probably going to see this, so I'm just going to ask point blank. What year, what story do you want to go with, or is there a new one? There's three. You got three to pick from, or you got a new one. Which story are you going to stick to? And, you know, I really hope, I don't know, the thing about you getting pregnant just to get out of the sea, like, first of all, just leave the Sea Org. What were they going to do? I mean, the people leave the Sea Org all the time. Don't do your work. You could leave. Don't they leave the Sea Org, or am I wrong?
It's really, really hard. It's really hard.
So him getting pregnant to leaving the Sea Org might be the very, very truth.
It's the immediate way out.
Okay, so that might be the truth. Yeah, that might be the truth. And maybe he already told his kid, you know, listen, we came from a real effed up thing with the Scientology and all this, and we had to make you to plan our escape. So thank you, honey. I mean, like, you know, maybe if they called their kid Freedom, we would buy that story.
Yeah, no, I just think that, you know, the researching on this, it's just made me feel sad, Toddie. I feel even know the amount of bullshit that he says. I know, I've been watching for a number of years, right? It's just, it breaks my heart that he has to do this and ruin what could have been a fantastic thing. But now he's just got a group of followers. He just, mercy, whatever you say, Lord, oh, I'll do that for you, not a problem, let me sort that out for you. Do you need me to do your video for you? I'll make it for you, I'll do it for you. And yet he's not even able to go and protest for 2 hours which is what he hated anyway. He hated protesting 2.5 years ago. That's changed. That's another story. And that's sad that these people who are paying members, they're giving him a huge amounts of money to see him win. And now it's, are you just wanting to pay money because it's actually just entertaining rather than to support people leaving a child trafficking motherfucking cult? I'm sad about it, but as I said, but then it flips, then I'm like, yeah, at least people are seeing it now. That's the other side.
Yeah, that's okay. But if somebody wanted to leave Scientology, so what would be the chance of them reaching out to Nora?
I presume that they would email her, I suppose, because her email's on her channel.
Who else would they reach out to if they wanted
Alex
to leave?
Barnes Ross. They go to Alex Barnes Ross, not Aaron. Yeah, Alex gets shit done. They know that. I think even the Scientologists know that.
Okay.
Even the Scientologists know Aaron. Alex gets shit done.
So they know where to go. But it wouldn't be the SPTV Foundation then, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I asked T this question. I'll ask it to you. Do you think the SPTV Foundation will be around in 3 years' time?
No. Nope. I'm not too sure it'll be around at the end of 2026.
That's exactly the same answer that T said.
Yeah, because I think he's going to find that he doesn't want to be bothered with it. That's what I think.
Yeah. Plus, of course, the old stats come out. Is the inland revenue stuff, isn't it? That's all due to come out soon, isn't it? You got to do all that for your IRS, whatever you call it over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is by April. But he can get an extension if he wants.
He's already had one
till October. Well, then for which year? You can get a couple of extensions.
2024.
He shouldn't be sharing that shit online. Like, I don't understand why he shares his personal tax information online. That is not something that I would be sharing online. And that might be different than his nonprofit. It certainly should be different than his nonprofit. You know.
Yeah, but we'll see, won't we? We'll see. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I'm sorry I buggered up the first bit.
No, we're good. I'm going to edit that so that we can understand a little bit better, for sure.
Sorry about that. But it gives you another idea, doesn't it? I'm sorry that I had to share the horrible news that actually the reason why he left was because...
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't make that up. And listen, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that he told his kid, being that, he said it on social media, or if he didn't have the sense, I'm hoping Heather had, obviously, the mothering instinct to tell her daughter, honey, that's your fucked up dad, or, honey, body thetans have ate your fucked up dad, or, honey, we love you and we're glad and we're so glad that you know what I mean? Like, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because the way he says it isn't a way that a dad should, isn't a way that a daughter should hear that, or a child should hear that.
Yeah. So that's today. That's what I've been looking at for the last few days. I just wanted to know. Nothing made sense. So I kind of feel like I've ended this one going, it still doesn't make sense. But anyway,
no, it does, because basically what we're doing with this is showing the story that Aaron has taken on, and to just make people aware and hold him accountable. If he says something one way, make sure he's saying the same thing the next time. If you
Right.
guys are donating, you definitely want to make sure that, you know, the stories make sense. They should make sense.
Mm.
And why wouldn't they make sense?
I
Like,
know.
that's weird.
It is weird, isn't it?
Right, yes.
But that's Aaron Smith Levin.
Bald head and all. Bald shiny boy.
Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Always, Mrs. J, absolute pleasure. And I will put the links below and put this out. And I know you said you're going to take a few days off, if not a week off.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to take something out for a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Mrs.
it's,
J and I are coming up also with something else that I'm excited about too.
Yes,
Just,
yes. Absolutely.
about
And that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
I've got so much I could be doing on that, but I don't. So but
Cool,
that's just
dude.
another story, another time. Anyway.
All right. And thank you, Mrs. J. And thank everybody, because this, I think, is episode 43. I think so.
43.
I think so. So. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And Mrs. J, thank you. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.